I'm a student, as you are once also a student. So now you're a master, a mentor. I would like to know, sir, what is a good student and what is a good guru or mentor? How would you define a really good student, bad student, good guru, bad guru?
You have already claimed the mantle of being a good student. So I think I'm free to claim the mantle of being a good guru. I think it's a deal, huh? Now, for a good student will not look for a good guru, because if you are a good student, you learn from everything. You're not looking for a good guru. Even if you meet a very bad one, you will learn a lot from that. How you should not be, that is also important.
Yes.
In a way, this is what happened to me. When my longing came, I looked. I met so many people who claimed to be gurus, but the only thing I learned from them was how a guru should not be. And that's not a small thing to learn.
It's a very big thing.
It's a very big thing.
Like as a director, I always tell my technicians what not to do. I never tell them what to do.
So, for a good student, there is no problem. Wherever he goes, he will learn. Whatever he meets, he will learn. A good guru is one who doesn't teach you anything, but makes you so thirsty, you can't help learning. If people come to me thirsty, I don't give them water, I put salt in their mouth.
Yes.
They get so thirsty, they got to find it. Because if you show them something which is not yet in their experience, the only choice that somebody has is either to believe what you say or disbelieve what you say. If you believe, you do not get any closer to reality. If you disbelieve, you will not get any closer to reality. It is just that if you believe me, you will have a positive story to tell. If you disbelieve me, you will have a negative story to tell, but you will not be an inch closer to reality. Above all, I think putting people into this kind of a dilemma, either to believe or disbelieve whatever I say or do, I think it's obscene. You should not put people into such a situation. So, my work is mainly, you are a seeker, but not intense enough. So my work is to make you so intense that it cannot be denied to you. Because truth is not hiding, you are hiding from it. Truth is not hiding, truth is obvious everywhere in the universe. You are hiding from it because the intensity of seeking has not happened. If seeking becomes intense enough, knowing is not far away, because what you're seeking is not sitting on Mount Everest, it's within you. So how long does it take? What is within you, if it takes a lifetime? Of course, you are on a con job, isn't it? Yes or no? It was sitting on Mount Everest, you could not climb. That's understandable. Maybe you don't have the legs and the lungs to get to the top of the mountain. But what is within you if you don't find? Obviously, you're on a con job or no? So to get you out of this deception is all my work is. My work is not to dispense truth. Who am I to do that?
That's so true. So true. To be on the lighter note, being a film man, which is your favorite Hindi film?
Oh.
They expect something from me like this.
Oh.
To be on lighter note.
It's been a very long time since I saw one. Just recently, I think on the airline I saw one. This is about something in a Bihari mountain. I think Manji something.
Manj.
That's a good movie.
Yes, sir. And Manji copied his get-up also, I think. Right?
I think it was
Yes,
very well
Manji.
done.
Yes, I think something like that. And further, more lighter, bro. Which is that screen heroine you fell in love in your
I'm sorry?
Which is the heroine, film heroine,
Film
you fell
heroine?
in love in your younger age.
Me? Oh,
Now
no.
you love human being.
No, there were enough girls around in my town. I didn't have to look to Mumbai.
Now, let's come to his affair now, please. Is that Guruji has been talking very fondly about his Chamundi Hills. And I'm fortunate enough to have visited Chamundi Hills. And I shot one of my film called Krodhi on Chamundi Hills.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. So I'm very fond of Mysore locations and all those. I made Pradesh and all that. So I remember I was making a film called Krodhi in 1978. And there was a scene I shot because I thought that was the right location for this scene. Can I explain you 1 minute for scene part of it? It was a Dharmender and Pran scene that one criminal has entered into the team of saints in disguise. The Guruji of this team accept him
There are
as
a lot of saints who don't need any help from outside.
So there was a scene when the criminal asked Guru, don't teach me about this God and destiny and all this. I know it all. He said that. I wrote the dialogues. He says, there must be a very smart and very shrewd guy 1,000 years back who created these two worlds called God and the other world called fate. He created world God because he wanted his children to follow what he said, what he wants them to believe. So he made them a fear of God. And fate, he created the world because when child fails in following all the principles laid down by him, he says, it is your destiny, it is your bhagya. So I know it all. And this was the question he put it to Guru. And Guru answered him that there was one Shila in Chamundi Hill we created, and there was some writings on the stones. He says, look at it. हिंदी में मैं बोलूँगा, भक्ति कुछ भी नहीं एक शक्ति है, भगवान कुछ भी नहीं एक इंसान है जो महान है, प्रेम कुछ भी नहीं एक आनंद है जो तुझे और मुझे एक दूसरे में प्राप्त करना है. तुम्हारे you have got a wisdom, but there is a layer on you of the worldly pollution. So you are an intellect, you are a man of intellect, but you do not realize the importance of it. So this is why I remember Chamundi Hills, because I wrote this scene there while sitting on the stone.
Oh, hope not the
Yes,
same rock as
yes.
me.
So I thought that is how you become Sadhguru, because you belong to Chamundi Hills. Thank you, sir. Now my short questions in my mind since my childhood. is, what is the difference between a rich man and a wealthy man? Who's really rich man?
One who has the new currency is a rich man.
So you mean to say the man with the old currency has gone poor? Poorer?
Say, unfortunately, we have brought the world to a place where the words like rich or wealth have become purely economic descriptions. There was a time when people would talk about wealth of knowledge or wealth of wisdom. That's gone. Today if you say wealthy, people will only understand it as an economic wealth. Because in many ways, today society is driven by economics. There was a time when we were overly influenced by the British, at least we would discuss the weather. Of course, Mumbai weather, there's nothing much to discuss. But today, all conversations are around economy, everywhere in the world. Everybody is behaving like an economist these days. Because it is the economic engine which is driving people's minds. It is the economic engine which is determining the nature of choices that we make in the world. It is the economic opportunities which determine what kind of education people go through. People are not studying what they want to know. People are studying that which will fetch them the maximum money. Yes or no? So, maybe a few are still marrying for love. Everything has become economic. In United States, a whole lot of people, before marriage, they're signing a contract. In case we divorce, what's the deal? How can two people become one when this calculation is on? But even the idea of becoming one has been given up. It's always two. The idea and the dream of two people becoming one has been completely given up. Because when economic calculation comes, you become exclusive, you can't be inclusive. So economics are ruling us in every way. So when you say richness, when you say wealth, we are only talking about money. Not just richness and wealth. If you say, he is a big man in the town, it doesn't mean that he has a big brain. It doesn't mean that he has a big heart. It means he has a big pocket. Nothing else. This is a very poor way to exist. When we do this, the ladies must know this. When economics become the main crux of everything that we do, the feminine will vanish from the world, or feminine will be subjugated. If women have to succeed, they have to become like men. There is no other way. Masculine will be everything. That means world will become utilitarian. There'll be no aesthetic, there'll be no beauty, there'll be no gentleness. Everything will be a calculation, what is useful, what is not useful, what do I get, what do you get. There will be no home, there will be only a marketplace everywhere. In the marketplace, The rules of the marketplace are like this. If I give less and take more, that means I'm smart. Yes or no? If you buy, you go to the share market, you buy for less and sell it for more, that is smart. But life doesn't work like that. Life becomes beautiful only when you're willing to give it all and you don't care what you get. Unfortunately, economics means an organized approach to survival. Now we've made survival. When we were in the caves, survival was a big issue. We organized civilization with so much effort because we thought we could leave survival behind and focus on higher dimensions of life. But once again, we have brought ourselves to a place, or bringing ourselves to a place, where survival is supreme. Nothing else matters now. Only thing is, we have raised the bar of survival in such a way that it doesn't matter what you have, you're still trying to survive. Affluent nations in the world, the Western countries where almost every citizen has everything that is needed, they're still fighting for survival. Fighting for survival like nobody else.
Yeah.
I keep asking the American people, you guys all the time talking about freedom. Where is freedom in your life? Because even if the most significant dimension appears in your life, you can't take a turn. I keep joking with them. You know, some time ago, 2000 years ago, Jesus came and said, "Come follow me." A few people followed him. But today, if your Jesus comes back and says, "Come follow me," where can you follow him? You have a 35-year mortgage on your house. You have still a student loan at the age of 45. You have a car loan, you have insurance, you have this. You're not going to follow, you got a bank to go to. You are not going to follow anything, it doesn't matter, even if a divine entity arrives, you cannot change the direction of your life. This is not freedom. Freedom means you should be able to change and alter your life according to the opportunities that come, isn't it? If something truly significant comes, you should be able to turn around and do something else. Because we have enshrined economics as the highest value, all these things are gone. Everything is about money and wealth means just money again. Most of the wealth that we have today in the world is just made up in people's minds. In 2008, when recession was setting in the Western countries, I happened to be at Davos at the Economic Forum. That year, India was running a campaign in Switzerland. The campaign was India Everywhere. All the American and European business leaders were all looking very depressed because recession was coming. That means they had a few $1 billion less than what they had. And they were all very depressed. So depressed means they were very touchy and angry with everything. Indian people were rubbing it in their face. I get down in Switzerland, huge hoardings, India everywhere, on the buses, India everywhere, inside the train, India everywhere. So it was irritating everybody. So they asked me to handle a session called Recession and Depression. I said, recession is bad enough, depression is worse. All of you have always been complaining you don't have enough free time. This is the time to walk on the beach. What are you complaining about? What is it that we are complaining about? So, there was a Chinese bureaucrat. See, the way we have structured the economic engine is such It is like that Panchatantra story where a monkey is sitting on the wrong end of the branch and chopping the branch. If it succeeds, it will fall. That's how we are right now. So, I said, see, the way you have structured this is, if we succeed, we shall fail. That's how we are right now. Because if we fail, you will be depressed. If we succeed, the world will be damned. Yes, the way we're going. So I said, it's better you're depressed. Because if your ambitions are fulfilled, there'll be no planet left. That's where we're going. So this Chinese bureaucrat did a wonderful thing. There was a big mirror, he put one chair and he said, see, there are two chairs, one chair here, one chair in the mirror. They all said yes. Then he covered up the mirror and he said, see, now there's only one chair. They said yes. Then he said, always there was only one chair. You made it up with a mirror that there are two chairs. The wealth on the planet is not gone anywhere. It is just distributing itself a little bit. Every time it slips out of your hands and goes to somebody, you will get depressed. He was saying it's moving to China.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for sharing the chair also.
Here there are two.
Two chairs. Allah, thank you very much for sharing two chairs. Now, the other question comes in my mind, sir, about the education to children. There is a slogan going on in our country, right to educate, right to education. And I always feel that more than right to education, there has to be a right kind of education. Because educating CAT, CAT is a bad, it's not a right education. Right kind of education is more important, that's what I feel and I say. Where do we lack the whole process of education for so many years, say rather century or 80 years, that we have not been living with the intellectual power till now. We face that, say, India is not is economically poor. India is intellectually poor at the moment because there has been a big gap of the whole process of education, the right kind of educations to all our children. What is your take on it, Sadhguru?
Say, India is definitely not poor on intellect. I would say…
You are one, we are thousands.
No. I speak to all kinds of people around the world, business leaders, academics, scientists, but still I would say…
When I say it means ignorance.
No, at random, if you pick up 100 people from the street, just like that, either in Mumbai or Chennai or Bangalore, I would say they are way smarter than most people that you can pick up anywhere in the world. Only… Hey, you shouldn't clap for yourself like I should have left out Mumbai. It is just that we do not have an organization for this intellect to find expression. Because there is no necessary structures to find expression, each person operates… This is one thing about India, everybody thinks he's a genius.
That's our education.
And you will see everybody is an expert on everything. It's like if you go to a local tea shop, he will tell you how Virat Kohli's strokes are not perfect, how he should do like this, like that. He will say how Narendra Modi does not know how to be a prime minister, what he should do.
We face every time a panwala tells me how to make a story.
He knows everything in the world, but it is just that he can't make good tea. It's just one little lacuna, otherwise everything else he's an expert. We have this as a little bit of an issue in the country. This is mainly because there is no outlet for this enormous intellect that country has. There is no structures for people to find expression to that. You just see, take Indian people and put them anywhere, they're just on the tops.
Survivors.
It's not about surviving, they're thriving.
Right.
Because once they find proper structures and they understand the structure, you can't stop them because there is a necessary intellect. This is a consequence of a very huge history, a cultural history that we have. Today, there are experiments to show, like for example, if you… let us say you put the smell of this flower on some food substance and keep it in front of a rat or a mouse, and when it goes and touches it, it'll get an electric shock. If you do this a few times, next 7 generations, those rats will not go towards that smell, all of them understand. This is their learning. So similarly, within the human being, a lot that was done in the past, which we call as samskara, that means intrinsic learning that we have, is still paying off, or in other words, we're still surviving on old food. It is time that this generation gets the right stuff. But that's not happened yet, because our education systems and every system that we had has been disrupted badly in a systematic way, because we've been an occupied nation for nearly 1,000 years. Some came and just ravaged everything. Others came and systematically destroyed everything. And they created an education system which was mainly towards obedience and clerical kind of work to serve Her Majesty's service. In 1947, when we got our independence, we should have seriously thought about what kind of education does India need? We must understand this. Without any infrastructure, literally without infrastructure, without any kind of education, our farmers are producing food for 1.25 billion people.
Yes.
This is knowledge. Why is this not knowledge, I'm asking? Why is this not knowledge? Why is this not competence? I was talking to a group of CEOs, I was just telling them, say, I'll give you 10 acres of very fertile land. You do one thing, I'll give you a couple of 2 different crops. You take out the harvest, let me see. All of your MBA, whatever. You take out a crop, let me see. It'll freak the hell out of you, I'm telling you. It's not easy. I've personally farmed, I know what it takes. It is… the more educated you are, the more difficult it becomes. Really, because it takes a very close sense of involvement with what you're doing, and from ploughing the land to the seed to taking the crop out, it is not an easy process. But our farmers are just doing it like that, as if it's just part of their life, something that they just inherited. This is a nation with over 12,000 years of agricultural history, the only land like that on the planet. In southern India, they are farming the same land for over 12,000 years. There are certain records which show this.
Yes.
So there is knowledge like this on various levels, but we have tried to push everything aside and reinvent the wheel. Once again we want to learn ABC and do it like this. So there is a disruption in the intrinsic learning that we have and the school learning that is coming to us. I'm saying Just read a book, however educated you may be, read a book and make one good sambar, let me see. It won't come.
Yeah. That's exactly the question is, yeah.
Because we are thinking only what is written in the book, A plus B equals C is only knowledge. Why is not making a wonderful sambar knowledge? Why is not growing a crop knowledge? Why is not making a pot knowledge?
Yes.
We have very constipated sense of what is knowledge. Because
The school system.
this is come from elsewhere. Some Indian student in Oxford, I was just not even a month, 3 weeks ago I was speaking at the Oxford Union, in Oxford University. One of the Indian students has filed a court petition that he should be compensated for the boring classes that they're teaching in Oxford University. I was very happy. That's why I never went.
Yes, yes.
That's why I never went to the university.
Yes. That amazes me. That is why the school system, the textbook, the 6 answers to the exam, 6 questions in the exam, after studying whole year, it really amazes me. That is why I always feel, why not the internal enlightenment to the children?
See, the problem is, why we are talking about right to education is, we have, for example, I don't know the exact number all over the country, in Tamil Nadu itself, we have 9.6 million children in the government schools alone, okay, 9.6 million children. When you have such vast numbers, then you have to do something. What you do for the mass is never the best, but what to do, you have to include everybody. So, some rudimentary sense of education is happening because at least they must learn to… If you don't know this, 70s and 80s, the objective was everybody should know how to write their name. The campaign was, literacy means you must know how to write your name. This is all. That is, they were trying to move them from thumb imprint to something written. It did not change life in any way, but it was a forward movement in a sense. But we must know this, when the British came around 270 to 300 years ago, there was not a single illiterate person in this country.
Yes.
They were amazed because there was no schoolrooms anywhere.
That's true.
There was no school infrastructure, but there was no illiterate, everybody could read and write.
Vidwan, everybody was Vidwan.
So they wondered, how does this happen? Then they realized the system is so organic that it is simply happening from within. So the first thing they decided was, we must destroy this education system because if you educate them like this, they will never become English. See, I'm the only Indian left in this hall. So, this system of education that we have inherited from those who occupied this nation, so we must understand this. You never take advice from your enemy, isn't it? If you have some sense, I'm saying. So, when they leave your country and go, first things to overhaul is your political system, your education system, your administrative system. These are things must be overhauled immediately because they were created for a certain purpose. For example, even today, the terminology we are using, I'm saying, the district administrators in many states, including Tamil Nadu, are referred to as collectors. In the British time, they were just tax collectors. Their only administration was to collect tax and take it back home. Even today, our administrators are called collectors. What are they supposed to collect from us? I'm saying we didn't change anything. We were just lazy, we were just happy that we have become free. But freedom is a terrible thing. If you do not understand the responsibility of being free, freedom is a terrible thing. If somebody is managing our life, it is better when we are not responsible. Only if we are truly responsible, freedom is a wonderful thing.
Wonderful. Maturity.
Otherwise, freedom is a terrible thing.
Maturity. Freedom must come with the maturity. That's true, Guruji. I belong to middle class, brought up by middle class family, and most of us are middle class people. What is this middle class? I'm doing well, I'm educated, I'm graduate. Still they call me you're middle class. And most of us run the country.
See, this is an aspirational thing. When large segments of the world, of the country were in extreme poverty, the aspiration was to become middle class. Middle class means you have college education, you may not be very rich, but you're college educated, you have a job and you have a regular job. Usually government employees were middle class at one time, slowly others joined up. Now middle class people are driving Mercedes-Benz, okay?
Is it in the terms of the economic development or the knowledge or the enlightenment? What is it? In which term they are middle class?
Oh, it was definitely an economic description. And there was a big goof up with this middle class. I think it was in 90s. A certain US firm came, which was, I forget the name of the firm, they came to do a market survey for Ford Motor Company. And they came here and they said some 100 million, 200 million, whatever number of middle-class families in India. So Ford can go to India, no problem, because it has the largest middle class. So Ford came and set up the plant at that time. And they couldn't sell 10 cars. Then they found out a middle class in India is earning 10,000 rupees a month and he can only cycle to his office, no question of he buying a car. It took them a while to understand, everybody have their own idea of middle class. They thought middle class means in America, middle class means somebody who's earning somewhere between $30,000 to $100,000 is middle class. Here at that time, India's middle class is, if they earn approximately 10,000–15,000 rupees per month, they were middle class, which is just $300. So, everybody has their own idea of middle class, but we can take this to another place. Now you are claiming you're middle class.
Because it always… I wonder, middle class means na idhar ke na udhar ke, neither this side nor that side. Neither I have an identity, whether it's poor or rich, they are clear about themselves. When I'm a poor guy, he is clear that I'm a rich guy. Now the middle class is neither this way nor that way. In what terms? That was bothering me, but you answered…
Aspiring to be rich but haven't made it.